So good morning and welcome back to another day of the Weight Escape. I am really happy to introduce you to Sam. Sam is actually the other half of Ohana. You will have heard Erin's interview already, and these two are business partners. So it's actually really neat for me to be able to interview both of them because they work so incredibly well together, but yet they're individuals. And I think it's really interesting to be able to bring this kind of perspective on because maybe you have a spouse at home, maybe you have kids, and you're working towards a common goal and you do a lot of things together, but at the end of the day, we're still individuals and it's still up to us to keep ourselves healthy and take care of ourselves and kind of have our own identity. So I think it's really neat to kind of have both sides of the coin here. So welcome, Sam. I would love it if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Hi. Thank you for having me on. First off, this is really cool. So my name is Sam. I am actually in Michigan. So I live by Erin. So I'm in Clinton Township, Michigan right now. And I've been a studio owner for 5 years. So we own Ohana Fitness and Wellness. That's in Shelby Township, Michigan. And it's been a wild ride over the last year. I actually am a fiance. So I was supposed to get married this month, actually in 2 weeks. And we had to delay our wedding due to COVID. So we're getting married on June 12th now of next year. But I do own a house with my fiance. We have 2 dogs. We have been together for 4 years now. So it's pretty cool, to be able to just connect with people like you that, during all of this, because I think a lot of times we feel so alone in this whole journey and we feel like it's hard to relate to a lot of people, but the more and more that you guys are hearing these stories and hearing different perspectives, I think we can all find different relatable points. So one of my biggest things that I wanted to kind of touch on here today is that no matter what knocks you down this year, no matter how hard you get hit, you can come back from that. And that's going to kind of be my theme of my story today. But it's an honor to be here today.
Awesome. So give us a little tiny bit of your background in terms of just a little bit of education, how you ended up with the studio, unless you'd like to weave that into your story, then go ahead.
No, it's okay.
A little bit about fitness. Have you always done it? Did you kind of how did that all come about?
So I went to Central Michigan University for health, fitness, and rehabilitative programs, which was more about cardiac rehab, but that was my only choice at the time. But I knew I wanted to go into some type of fitness. And so I got through a couple classes and I realized it wasn't really my route. And so I actually went down an entrepreneurship route. So I majored in entrepreneurship originally because I knew, basically I closed my eyes and I opened up my book. There was this little bulletin book and I closed my eyes and I put my finger on a major and it was entrepreneurship. And I was like, well, if I can learn how to run my own business, then somebody will hire me to run theirs. That's literally my logic behind it. And then I was taking just different classes out of health fitness, but not necessarily wanting to major in it. And then I got to my 4th year and I realized, hey, I'm only a couple classes away from double majoring, so I might as well just do it. And I had a minor in nutrition. So it's perfect with what my position is now, but I didn't know I was going to be here at the time. So I double majored in entrepreneurship and health fitness with a nutrition minor. And then I got out of college and I did a internship at Hilton Head Health Resort, which is institute. It's in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. And that's basically Biggest Loser. They go there and you lose, you can stay there for a couple months. Some people come a couple of weeks and they just they have professional chefs. They have fitness classes every day. It's unreal. It was the best experience. And so I went there and I just really found my passion. I found that I just loved helping people get healthier, feel better, feel more confident. We started running women's workshops there, me and another intern. And it was basically taking women that were going through the weight loss journey and teaching them all the reasons why they haven't achieved their goals yet and how to break through that. Because I feel like a lot of people are just focused on what specific things they need to do. I need to do this diet and I need to work out this long and I need to do this, but they're not really focusing on the mental side of things too. So we started that. And then after that, I became a personal trainer. So I'm a personal trainer, a group fitness instructor. I kind of breezed over that, but in college, I started teaching fitness classes. So I was actually the person in the back of the class that did not want anything to do with being in the front of the class. And I got dragged to a kickboxing class and I wanted nothing to do with it. And I kept going because I was like, well, this is kind of fun, I guess. And then one day the instructor was gone and I was like, hey, I feel like I could do this because the sub was not that good. And so, the next time the instructor came back, I told her that, and then she pulled me up in front of class and made me teach, like with no experience whatsoever. And that was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. It was very uncomfortable, but I became a group fitness instructor. And then moral of the story, long road down. It was a couple years after college. I decided that I was missing something in life. And I don't know if anyone that's watching this or you, Jen, that you just kind of like know that you're made for more and that there's something else there, but it hasn't really clicked yet. And I opened up my email and there was an email from Todd Durkin, and that's how I got involved in all of that, because it was a 3.5-day mentorship, and it was like, hey, you will not regret this. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I left that mentorship, came back, decided to start my own business within 2 weeks, and then just started personal training out of my house then. So that's kind of how the whole journey started. It's a very long story, sorry.
Okay, that's awesome. I think it's important because sometimes I think, when we tell our stories, people are like, well, that's great because you're happy now and you've got everything. But it's like, there's a whole thing behind it. And sometimes I think people really need to hear the struggles and hear the, you went into entrepreneurship, like I wouldn't have guessed that. So I think it's neat to kind of hear how people end up where they do, because like you said, sometimes there's that feeling of I'm meant for more. And I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that were like, I'm meant to be healthier. I'm meant to be, and I just don't know what to do, or I don't know what to start, or I don't know, nobody's going to understand my story.
Yep.
So that's why I think it's so important to get some of those pieces out there.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your story. I know you've got a good one for us.
So let's go back a little bit. In college, I grew up and I was not healthy at all, but I was naturally skinny from my dad. And so growing up, I never really ate healthy. I hated fruits and vegetables. I didn't work out. And you're probably all rolling your eyes like, oh, geez, she's so lucky. But I just never knew any of that stuff. And so and I'm also extremely uncoordinated. So I was never really in sports. I was in band and I was a band dork, and I was actually super shy. I would never be on a call like this if you caught me dead. Like my mom used to have to order my food at restaurants because that's how shy I was. So I was not the person I am today. And then I went to college and I worked out for like the first time, and I thought, hey, this is good for you. It makes you feel better. And I didn't realize, I think a lot of people don't realize what they're missing until they feel different. And then they're like, oh, this is what it feels like to be healthy. This is what it feels like to feel good. And actually, a lot of people don't realize that feeling until they lose it too. So if you're currently on your own journey and you're like, man, I'm not seeing results, I'm not feeling my best, I want to be further than where I'm at today. And then you stop all of your healthy habits, you realize how crappy you used to feel. So that's kind of how I started in this. And just starting to learn more about nutrition, I think, was key. I found a new aspect of my life that I never thought I would be interested in. And when I was in a nutrition class, I realized, hey, the time would be up in class and I would be like, man, I still want to be here. And I found a different passion. So with that, I've been able to teach my clients, basically, you guys might've heard this from Aaron and I, but we do not preach, elimination diets. We don't preach these fad diets that come in and out. We're strictly about teaching people well-rounded, balanced, healthy habits, because you cannot sustain short-term diets. I mean, some people can, but it's extremely difficult. So with our focus with our gym now, so we opened up Ohana after I started doing in-home personal training. I got enough clients to be able to open a studio. Our main focus was that mindset, nutrition, and then fitness. And so mindset has always come first for us. So when Aaron and I teamed up, we actually met on Facebook, which is crazy. You never know who you'll meet on social media.
Right.
So we got together and we just realized that something was missing. There was a void in the fitness industry that was missing, and it was the connection from your mind and your body. And a lot of people are starting to touch on that now, but I think we go even deeper than most people do, where we're figuring out what in your life is holding you back kind of like I said in the beginning, what in your life is holding you back and not allowing you to make this a long-term sustainable lifestyle change. And so we've really tried to start focusing on that now, and it's paid off exponentially over the last 5 years. The results that our clients have gotten is unbelievable. And that the fact that they're able to keep it and get through the quarantine and get through all of these hard times. One of the hardest years of my entire life was this year. I started this year with my dad being sick. He had stage 4 cancer, and he came down with that last July. And by the beginning of this year, he was pretty bad. And so that came out of nowhere. And so we ended up, I mean, your health takes a back seat when you're taking care of somebody else and you're at the hospital every day. You're eating what you can, you're not working out. I mean, my workouts were to the parking lot and back, going into the hospital. And when he passed away at the end of January, I made it like I committed to dedicating my workouts to him and just starting to really focus my energy, because it's so easy to get like down and just, I hear from a lot of my clients, hey, my son passed away or my father passed away, and then they gained 40, 50, 60 pounds. And I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to just like lose everything. So after he passed away, I was like, you know what, I need to dedicate something to him, because he fought like hell. And I'm still here on this earth and I have a fighting chance. So I'm going to do everything I can to be healthy, everything I can to hopefully avoid sickness in the future. And that's kind of where I'm at now, is that's that driving force to keep going.
I love that story, because I think it's so, not that I love that you lost your dad, sorry, but just that driving force to keep going. And we are still here. And I think sometimes, unfortunately, it takes an event like that for some of us to kind of wake up to really realizing that, being here is a gift, and being able to do things is a gift. And, personally, I can relate. I was out of town to do a triathlon and got the news that a family member was diagnosed with cancer and may only have hours. And I was just like, what? Like, how did this happen so fast? And I had the choice. And he's like, don't you dare come back. Like, you have a race to do. Don't you dare come home for this, because you might not even make it. And I was just like, that's so unfair. How, like, what, like, no, I'm coming home. But it's like, no, it was a gift. And getting up the next morning and being able to race. And it was like, yeah, I get to do this, like, he's in a hospital bed. And it turned out I was able to see him. He made it a couple more days, but it was like, I get to be healthy enough to do this. I get to make the choice to get up and do this today. I get to, whereas his options are limited, and we don't know when that time is coming for us. Like you said, it can be sudden, and it can be unexpected. It can be for no reason. And I think, it's really important as human beings that we take advantage of the time that we do have, because it is short.
That statement right there. So we, the changing the I have to's to I get to's, that is so powerful. And I think a lot of people don't realize that until they've lost somebody that's really close to them. And I have never lost anybody close to me. And my dad was one of my best friends. Like, we literally hung out all the time. And so my clients, so what we ended up doing before we knew how bad he was, he got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and we decided to do a race for him. So we did the Detroit Free Press Marathon relay, and we got together teams, which we originally thought maybe we'd get like 10 people. So it was teams of 5. So we thought like maybe 2 or 3 teams. We ended up with 60 people that signed up from our studio, and each one of them raced for my dad. And so we were just raising money and just doing it like every day. We would dedicate our runs to him, our walks to him. I had clients that had never walked a race ever, and they signed up to do this, and it was a marathon relay like this. Some of the legs were like 6.5 miles long. And so I really want to encourage anybody that's watching this, if you are lacking inspiration or lacking motivation, and you're like, and there's not really a purpose or reason behind you working out right now, you don't have a strong reason why, so maybe you keep falling off, join a race, get into something that is just going to make you excited. And I know COVID's kind of like pushed that back right now, but even if you're training for something next year, if you have a reason or a purpose or something, a goal at the end, and you're working towards that, it makes it so much more powerful than just going out for a regular run. So we ended up getting together 60 people. We all raced. It was unreal. And the reason that we did that was not so much to like, it wasn't even about money or anything. It was about showing him that, that we're doing what we can, and he can do what he can. And he started, you guys, like he went from being completely bedridden to starting to walk. So he started walking, and he ended up getting to the point where he was walking down to the end of the street to go get my niece from school and walk her back home. And like, that was so huge. Like, we could not, because chemo just knocks you out. It really does. And so he started being able to do that because of us. And so you never really realize who's watching you or who's getting inspired by you, by your own journey. So I always encourage my clients, like, even if you're not a Beachbody coach or whatever these coaches are out there, just share your journey, because you never realize who you're impacting and who you're inspiring to get up and get out there. And it's really powerful. And now moving forward into this year, it's like going back to that, I have to, and I get to, like, our clients that participated in that learned that, like, I get to run today. I get to go out and do this walk today. And it's transpired through our entire studio now, where everybody's had this shift of perspective, where people used to dread their workouts. And it's not necessarily like they look forward to them now, but they know that it's an honor to our body. It's an honor that we're able to do that we're able to move ourselves, that we're healthy enough to do it. And that should hopefully keep us healthy for a long time if you continue it.
That's awesome. If you don't mind, I'd love to back you up a tiny bit, actually, because you said something that was really striking to me, that I think there might be people out there that understand or don't understand. And I think it's important, but you were talking about having good genes from your dad and being fortunate enough to be skinny, but you weren't healthy. And I would love if you could tell us a little bit about that, because like you said, there's probably a couple people listening going, okay, she's lucky. And there might be other people that can relate, and they're like, yeah, well, I've never had that genetic issue, but I know I'm not healthy. I don't feel good. Because whether you're underweight, overweight, however you want to describe it, those internal feelings are actually quite universal for all of us.
Yeah. So I think Erin and I share a similar story with this about being a thinner person. We both struggled with eating disorders at one point in our college day. Hers was a little different than mine, but what ended up happening was, you look in the mirror and you see somebody different than who you actually are. And I think because everybody in college at that time was gaining, the freshman 15 and whatnot, you kind of like see that for yourself too, even though I don't even know if I was or not. I didn't used to weigh myself, but I started seeing that, like, I was like, oh, my clothes are fitting a little tighter and whatnot. And so instead of it just being like, okay, I should eat healthier, I never really had that background. Mm-hmm. So I started just like learning from other people, like basically to work out too much, and then, negate your calories that you're bringing in. And so I learned through my nutrition class that you needed 1,200 calories minimum to be able to sustain a healthy metabolism. So, hey, Dan, can you let them outside? Sorry. I have 2 Shibas and they're adorable, but they occasionally are annoying. So I ended up being able to so I found out that, 1,200 calories was the minimum. So I would eat 1,200 calories, and I was still pretty healthy. If you looked at me from the outside, you would see that I'm eating food. I'm not starving myself. You would see that I'm working out, but no one really saw how much I was working out. And so, however many calories I would eat that day, I would just burn off. And that was my message. That was my theory. That's like how I was going to sustain weight, which if you guys know anything about weight loss, you know that that's bad. And so I watched myself go from somewhere around, I don't know what I started at, probably somewhere in the 140s to, I remember one day I looked on the scale and it was 118 pounds, and I am 5'9.5". Like, I am not short. And so I was like, whoa, I think I've gone too far. And it was like 118 pounds. Like, I can't even imagine myself looking like that now. So from there, I realized something's got to change. And, I think there's a difference between like feeling. So when you look in the mirror and you see that other person, and for me, it was somebody that was bigger than what I actually was. And so you do that and you try to do everything that you can to just like get down to this goal weight, but I didn't even have a goal weight. I was just going somewhere. I don't even know what I was doing. And so I was like, you know what, enough is enough. I just need to change my perspective here. And I really realized it honestly when I was at the doctor and they were like, okay, like what is going on? They saw how skinny I was getting and they kind of called me out for it and I got pissed and I was like, oh, sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to swear in here, but I was like, man, I'm like, she's telling me I have to gain weight. Are you freaking kidding me? And so, but I thought about it and it took, I don't know, maybe a week or two. And I was just thinking about it. And I'm like, you know what? She's probably right. I need to start focusing on building muscle. So instead of me just being like, okay, I need to gain weight and just start eating all the foods, I realized that I wanted to do it, one, in a healthy way. And two, I wanted to shift my focus from trying to get really skinny to just being fit. And I knew that I read something in a fitness magazine one time that was like, food is fuel. And so I had to start telling myself food is fuel. And this may resonate with some people because when you are on a weight loss journey, a lot of times food does feel like you shouldn't be able to eat it. Like, you know, that it's a bad thing if you do go out and eat a slice of pizza and you live in guilt and regret. And you're like in this vicious cycle in your head where you're like, what did I just do? And then it becomes something where it's just stressful. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to stress out about eating extra fruit at night. And so what I did was just thought food is fuel. And every time that I fueled my body, that I was able to build that into muscle. And so I started working out and heavy weightlifting instead of doing, endless amounts of cardio. And I started seeing a shift in my strength. I started to feel stronger. I started to look more fit. People were starting to, instead of like call me skinny, they were like, wow, you're looking really good. Like you're looking fit. And I think that was a huge shift for me. And what really helped me later down the road with my clients and teaching them this, it was like, our goal is not skinny. Our goal is not tiny. Our goal is for you to look healthy and fit and feel strong. And when we could start to teach our women these lessons, because we're a women's only fitness studio, when we started to teach them that, I think it really did help them realize that food's not the enemy and that if you do this the right way, you're going to feel good. But if you do this the wrong way, you're going to stress yourself out more than ever. So that's kind of my background with that. And I think my takeaway message here is that if you're feeling like you're, lost in whatever diet that you're doing, or, maybe you're yo-yoing or you're going back and forth, I would just want you to really take down notes on how you're feeling internally. And if you feel like it's not clicking with your body or something's not right, it's probably not the right thing to be doing. The best I've ever felt is when I allowed myself the occasional treat or allowed myself to be able to eat some of my favorite foods and not feel bad about it, but still have that balance where, okay, I know I'm still working out. I know I'm still taking all of these other things seriously, your water intake, your sleep, your stress levels. It feels so much better.
I really appreciate that you said that because food as fuel is huge. And I think it's a really nice way of, like you said, kind of transitioning between that I can't have to, okay, I get to actually put something really good into my body that's going to help me feel better. It's going to help me move better. But I don't have to take everything out either. I can still enjoy some things that I really like. So it's not that like take away, but it's more of a focus on how do I get to fuel my body to feel my best. And I think that's important because sometimes I think, like you say, we as a society have been taught things about numbers like 1,200 calories. Well, 1,200 calories can look so different in terms of food. And the key to actually being healthy and even losing weight is to eat properly, like to actually, put stuff in. And I really appreciate that you said that because I've known clients that I've worked with that stick with their 1,200 calories, but there's nothing really nutritious. Let's use that word. I don't want to say good or bad, but nutritious within that. And it's like, but they still feel like garbage.
Yep. Yeah. We used to, I used to eat like cereal, like 1,200 calories of cereal a day. Like that was like, oh, okay, I've hit 1,200 calories. I'm good for the day. Like it was terrible. But I did want to say, I kind of didn't finish that story. So I was down to 118 pounds. I worked my way back up and I've sustained for the last, I don't even know, I've been out of college for a while now. So like 9-10 years. I've been hovering between 145 and 150. So that I think that the goal now, and I try to weigh myself just once a month just to make sure I'm not like going too far off, but I think it's a whole different shift in your perspective. When you start wanting to feel stronger and you look at, these girls that are toned and they have muscle definition. And I saw that, not even like big and bulky, nothing like that, just tone and fit. And I was like, that's that's what I want to be. And so many of my clients are like, oh, I want to look like you. I want your arms. I want this and that. And then they hear how much I weigh and they're like, oh, I thought you weighed like 100 pounds. Like, you're a size 0. I'm like, no, I'm a size 8, but like, thank you. And like, it's so, I think a lot of times we look at people and we judge them and we say, oh, okay, well, like, even if you looked at me, you would say, okay, well, she's skinny, she's fit, she doesn't struggle with anything. But there's always that like thing in the back of your head that's like telling you maybe you shouldn't eat this, or maybe, there's always still that feeling of like, what you used to struggle with in the past. So I think eating disorders can go both ways, whether it's binge eating and, emotional eating, or it is deprivation or whatever. I think either way, it's just a mindset shift. So I love that, we were able to touch on that. And I think if you can really focus in on food as fuel and realizing that balance is key with anything in life, then you're pretty certain to succeed.
I'm going to go there just because you brought it up, but you mentioned lifting heavy, and you even said a lot of women, I don't want to get big, I don't want to get bulky. Like, I'd love to go there with that myth, if you don't mind, because I think a lot of women get a false understanding of what lifting weights actually means.
Oh my gosh, I wish that I could get bigger. It's hard to get bigger. Like, it's hard to build muscle. People don't realize that. Okay, if you are looking to tone up and you're looking to build muscle, you want to look fit, but you don't want to look bulky. A lot of times people will tell you, you need to do low weight and high reps, right? That's like what you're taught in school. That's what you're taught in personal training. Like, okay, lower weight, higher reps, that'll get you nice and toned. Think about a bar class, for example. But realistically, that's not going, if you look at the science behind things, that's not enough for you to break down the muscle and then rebuild it. You have to lift heavier. And so what I've taught my clients, which I have a lot of personal training clients now that they've just seen insane results. I like to train brides because those are like my favorite people. They're super motivated. And I have these pictures of these brides, and they're just like, they like flex, and their back is just like so awesome. And people like think that they're like, they're like, oh, wait, I thought you were just like that normally. Like, no, like you have to work for that. Like, that took them a long time. And so I think there is that huge misconception that you do have to lift, a little bit of weight, a lot of reps. But honestly, my clients, they are lifting, you would not believe some of the weights that these, 50 to 60-year-old women, they lift, and they are just, as they're lifting like 20 pounds over their head on each arm, and they see really good results from it. So I would just say, if you are looking to build some muscle tone, don't be afraid. One, your food is going to go to the right places, so don't be afraid to eat. And two, make sure that you guys are really pushing yourself in the gym and pushing yourself on those weights, because once you start to get into those heavier weights, you're going to start to see that muscle definition come out, and you're going to be like, one day you'll be like brushing your hair, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, look at that arm, and it's not bulky, I swear, I promise you. It's not going to be like that.
I just think that's so important, because I'm sure you've come across it too, but I've had it so many times. Oh, I can't lift heavy. I can't lift. No. I don't want to get bulky. I'm going to get bulky. And I'm like, no, you're not. And I don't know where that started. Like, that's why it's so hard. It's like, I don't know where that myth started, but so many.
I don't know. I think it was like someone that had really, really good genetics that was able to, there's certain people that, like, if they were a swimmer back in the day and they just have that natural, like, big structure for their upper body, like big back and whatever. But otherwise, it's extremely difficult, you guys. So lift heavy. Don't be afraid of it. The more that you lift, right, the more muscle you'll have on your body, which means the more calories you're burning at rest. So while you're sitting on your couch watching Netflix, you're actually more metabolically efficient, which means you're basically burning more calories just sitting there watching Netflix, which is a good thing, because then you're gonna be burning through the fat, which will help in turn get you toned. So I think a lot of people think that it's just like, oh, the muscle is going to build on the fat, so you have to lose the fat first and then you build the muscle. Or people think that fat turns into muscle or vice versa, which it's not. If your body is more metabolically efficient and it's starting to burn through calories faster, then you're going to see results faster. So I always tell my clients to lift. I never have clients just start off on cardio and just do cardio every single day.
What do you do with clients? Like, if somebody walks in the door, So if we have people listening that are like, yeah, I'd like to get started and I have no idea where to start, what to do. That sounds intimidating, but I know I want something.
Yeah. So if we have somebody just walk into the door, we no, or online, because we do a lot of online, especially with COVID now. We always first ask them, what are their goals? Where do they struggle the most? And what kinds of things do they want to see? Figuring out somebody's reason why is our main focus in the beginning, because if you really if you come in, everybody, okay, I want to lose weight. Okay, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to lose 10 pounds or 50 or whatever it is. And then I ask them why. So you can even do this exercise at home, ask yourself why. Why do you want to lose that 20 pounds? And if you're like, well, I have this pair of jeans I want to fit back into. And then I'm like, okay, well, why do you want to fit back into those pair of jeans? I typically ask why 3 times. So after that third, it sounds ridiculous, but I'm going to be like, why do you want to fit into those jeans? And then maybe you're like, well, my husband 2 weeks ago told me that maybe I should get a size up because it's not looking too good right now. And then I'm like, okay, well, why do you want to do that? And then finally it comes down to like, okay, I don't feel good. I don't feel confident. I don't feel myself. I want to feel sexy. I want to feel this or that. I don't want to feel like this anymore. And when you start to really root down and see that reason why, and sometimes it's just like, I want to chase after my kids without being out of breath, or I want to wake up in the morning and feel energized. I don't want to feel down. And so I think once you figure out that reason why, then I can create an ideal program for you. We're not super systematic. A lot of people in the mastermind and whatnot are very systematic in their approach, but we're more of a mental health aspect where I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's held you back in the past? How can we move forward? What kinds of things do I need to be doing with you to get you those results? Because anybody can put anybody on a crash diet, and anyone can work somebody out. Like, I mean, I could tell you go out and do a 3-mile walk every day. You'll probably lose weight from it if you're not doing currently 3-mile walks. So I think it's just about figuring out where somebody is. So if you're sitting here right now watching this going, well, I'm starting at ground zero, I have no idea what I should do or where I should go. My first thing is write down your goals, figure out what your reason why is behind those goals, and then start small. We always start small with people with small daily habits consistently over time. So if maybe you can't afford a personal trainer, or, gyms are closed or whatnot, what online programs can you find? We're Beachbody coaches, so we use Beachbody on demand a lot for our clients. Or, I mean, shoot, you can even YouTube the different free workouts, and just get yourself starting to move just 10 minutes a day. I always, every single one of our clients focuses on, we say 10 minutes a day, because 10 minutes typically turns into longer, and anybody can commit to 10 minutes. No one is too busy for 10 minutes. If you're too busy for 10 minutes, I'm going to say sit down and reevaluate your schedule. Maybe you have to wake up 10 minutes earlier or go to bed 10 minutes later, whatever it is. And then from there you can build on. So he's going to hate me for calling him out right now, but my fiance just started, so we have a Peloton, and we've had it for a while, but he just started a new streak because he kept starting and stopping. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. It's like you get the motivation and then it fades out because you're not seeing results. And so he dedicated himself this time to just saying, you know what, instead of doing these 30-minute high intensity workouts where I feel exhausted after, I'm going to start with just something small. So he's been doing he started off with 10-minute scenic rides, which is like not even a class. It's just like taking you through like the beach and stuff. And he started small. And then the next week he increased to 15 minutes a day. And he's been doing every single day. Right now he's on today will be 18 days in a row that he's done it. And it's just small. It's not like 30-minute workouts. They're 10, 15, 20 minutes. So each week he's been building up 5 minutes, and he's saying next week he might just stick with 20 minutes, but just push himself a little harder. And what's happened in his mindset now is shifted from, okay, I just need to go super hard and, not eat that much and just lose weight really fast. And instead now it's just like, let's just try to make this a routine and get into a structured approach where I'm feeling like I'm winning by just being able to get on that bike, instead of it being focused on scale, results, how fast can I lose it? Now it's like, how many days in a row can I do? How faster can I go? Because if you're doing the work, then it's going to pay off long term. But if you're only focused on the results and you're only focused on what's on the scale, then you are going to get discouraged right off the bat. You've got to be more focused on what you're putting in. If you're putting in the work, the weight will come off. If you're putting in the work, you will get that muscle mass. You will get those results from it. So that's where I would recommend. I always start with 10 minutes a day. and then build up and find your daily routines. So what types of things can you commit to yourself? We have our clients write down and put it somewhere they see every single day. What are some of the daily habits that you want to accomplish? And they literally have to check it off. So if it's small, guys, like we're not talking huge drastic changes here. It's drinking half your body weight in ounces daily. Check it off. Okay. Next, 10 minutes of activity in a day. Did I get that? Yes. And that 10 minutes of activity could be like running around with your kids outside, getting your heart rate up in some way, shape, or form. That's our activity. And as people start to develop that, then we can start to talk about higher intensity workouts, but just starting there is great. So
I think it's vital that you said that, because I think a lot of people do get intimidated by exercise because, you know, whether in the fitness industry, we've done a disservice by offering classes that are usually an hour.
Yeah.
There's this mentality that, oh, if I can't do an hour, then there's no point, which, as we know, is totally garbage. But it's like, I think it deters people from starting, though. I think
it really does, because it's so long. And even in the past with like going to the gym, right? And you were like engineered that you need to spend like an hour and a half at the gym. And it was like, I tell my clients now, if I can't kick your butt in 20 to 30 minutes, then I haven't done my job. So all of our classes are only 30 to 45 minutes. 45 minutes is, I don't know, it depends on what class you go to, but so ours are just like get in and get out. And I think that as we transition more to in-home workouts, and maybe not in the gym as much, I think that's key, because after 30 minutes, I start to see a shift in clients. I start to see, you know, either their form starts to slack because they're tired, their mind starts to wander and they're not really present anymore. And you got to keep drawing them back in. And it's sometimes hard to just stay focused. So if I say, okay, for the next 30 minutes, you are going to give me everything you have right now, then they're able to kind of just get in and get out and they know it's over quick. But if it's an hour, it's like, you better be a damn good instructor to keep that person dedicated that whole time, especially on like a bike. If it's like a Peloton, I don't know, spin classes, like you spinners, I don't know if you're a spinner or not, but oh my God, like that is so long. I need like a half-hour spin and then TRX. Like I can't just sit on a bike for an hour.
That makes me giggle because I am a spinner.
I figured you look like a spinner. Yeah.
And I love fusion classes. Don't get me wrong. I really, really like, that's almost one of my favorite, but to teach just 30 minutes, I'm like, you can't in 30 minutes. So.
That's so funny. Yeah. It really depends on what kind of class it is too. I mean, if you're in a Tabata class, like I don't want to be there longer than 30 minutes. But if I teach 45-minute Tabatas and I do 6 rounds, and by the end of it, it's just like, okay, we're over this. But I mean, like I said, when you're first starting off, like just get in the habit of moving your body daily. And if you can start to do that on a consistent basis, we talk about graduation and like graduating different daily habits. So, okay, if you hit 2 weeks doing 10 minutes a day, then maybe your 3rd week, you bump it up. Once you've hit a month, maybe you do explore a new fitness class online or take a virtual class or whatever it is, and kind of just keep moving yourself forward. We have a program called the Little Black Dress program, which Erin probably talked about. And it's just everything in it I just love. But the biggest thing that I love is that people, they pat themselves on the back for everything. So also, I just want you all to remember that any win is a win. If you parked further away at the grocery store today because you wanted to get more steps in, that's a win. Celebrate everything. Like that's the best part about the journey, is celebrating each win. Because honest to God, guys, once you get to the point where you want to be, it's hard to maintain and it's hard to stay motivated because you're not seeing those physical results anymore. You're just trying to maintain them, which gets boring as hell. And yeah, it's like right now it might seem like, especially if you're on a weight loss journey, like, oh yeah, but you have a really nice body and you feel good at that point. Yeah, but do you know how easy it is to start to go back into those old habits? So celebrate those wins as you go down in that journey, and just high five yourself for everything, because that's the fun part of it. Once you get to the end, then it's maintaining and it's a little harder to find those wins. So just celebrate yourself and celebrate those accomplishments, even if it is just a 5-minute workout that day. So anything else?
No, I think you've done an amazing job. I love what you've said, because I think it just gives a lot of insight that we all kind of have similar struggles. Like really at the end of the day, we all kind of have those similar struggles, and maybe stuck feeling like we're not looking like the way we could or should, or those pieces, and our journeys, while they all are different, I think there's common values in them.
Yeah, and I think like making your setbacks your comebacks is like one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. Was just this year is terrible. It's just the worst for everybody, and maybe you're having a great year, and I commend you for that. But if you're not having a great year, just try not to get paralyzed by those setbacks, and it's going to feel like you keep getting hit and like you have to keep coming back from that. But what types of things in your life can you control? What types of things in your life can you focus on? And a lot of times health is one of the number one things. I mean, of course there are some aspects of our health that we can't control, for example, if you get COVID or something, but if you are healthy right now, and that's a win right there, and you're in control of your health, and where in your life can you start to focus your energy and attention on? Because there's a lot of negative stuff going on in the world right now, but if we can start to channel that energy and focus our energy, instead of watching CNN all day, we focus it on, okay, what can I do for myself, my body, my how can I honor myself today? That's where we're trying to shift our focus. So turning those setbacks into comebacks is really my theme for the year, and being able to just get through anything. Because guys, if we can get through this year, we are doing really good. So just commit yourself for the rest of the year. August to December, it's going to be a test. The weather is going to get colder and the seasons are going to change. I know you guys are in Vancouver, right? But things are going to get different here. And I think if we can just stay strong and stay dedicated to our true reason why, then we'll be able to finish out this year good.
I love that. I love that. So Sam, thank you so much for being here today. It was so nice to talk to you. I know we kind of see each other at events and don't ever really get to sit down and have a conversation.
I know.
It's been really nice, and I really like so much of what you've said, and I think it's so important to hear the message for all of us. But there's many of you who are sitting out there and maybe not sure where to start, or not sure what's going on, or don't know how to look at the year the way Sam is, because you're getting hit and you're getting knocked down, and you've never thought of making it a comeback. So I think these pieces are really important for all of us, to just those gentle reminders and remembering that we get to. I love that. I love the way you highlighted that, as we get to be healthy, or we get to make the choices. And going into the cold and flu season, I think it's really important this year more than ever that we get our bodies as healthy as we can.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So we will see you again tomorrow with our next speaker, and have a wonderful rest of your day.